Hello, everyone. This is Jeffrey Harris, and you're listening to the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast. For today's interview, I'm speaking to the producer of Dark Side of the Ring, Evan Husney. Uh, you've come off a very successful season 2 premiere. The ratings were fantastic, and I think you guys doubled what you did from the season 1 finale. So, how are you feeling right now? Season 2 has just started. It's been getting a lot of attention. The social media reaction it was insane. So, how does that feel for you right now as one of the creators?
Oh man, it's been great. It's been overwhelming, but overwhelmingly positive. For us, just to see, just the response the episode's been getting, and to see, a lot of people finding out new information about the story, and also it's been great to see more people open up about the story and talk about it. And for me, that's just been it's just been awesome to see.
The Chris Benoit documentary, or the Chris Benoit episode, I've said, and this is not me exaggerating, this is the best wrestling themed documentary I've ever seen. And I do not
say Thank you.
I do not say that lightly, Evan, because this is a really big story. It's not just like one of the darkest days in wrestling history. It's a tragic human story, and I think the way you guys did it, it's different from some of the regular episodes. It felt different. You guys had 2 hours to really dive into all this, and I think what you did here was something very special with what you were able to tap into, specifically giving David Benoit and Sandra Toffoloni the chance to tell their stories, because I feel like in the last 13 years, we never really got to hear their stories in all of this. So I guess, how important were those aspects for you and Jason Eisner?
Oh yeah, for Jason and I, it was incredibly important to have Sandra and David be a part of the piece. From the beginning, in trying to tell the story, we always wanted to approach it by telling the inner circle of the people closest to Chris Benoit. That was the way we wanted to approach the story. As we wanted to really get their point of view, and one of the things that we discovered while we were doing the interviews and talking to the subjects is we found that through opening up with this, that they were also victims in this story, because they're the ones left behind that have to come to terms with this and try and process this and try and process how, in some cases, your best friend or your brother-in-law or even your father was capable of these acts. And that, to us, was just really started to feel like, this is the area in which we wanted to approach the story, rather than, bringing this all back up again and approaching it from a sensationalist point of view or like an expose or anything, because I think there's a lot to look at through the lens of today, which wasn't examined originally back in 2007.
Now, in constructing the Benoit episode, did you want it to feel and sound and look a little different from some of the other episodes?
Well, I think just overall with season 2, I think there's a lot that we learned from season 1, and so I think there's maybe a little bit of differences throughout season 2, and just how we're, just based on what we've learned, and like new tricks we want to try, whether that's with the way we're doing reenactments or some of those different approaches. I think we just really wanted this episode to feel as personal as possible, and or I guess I should say, feel as intimate as possible with a lot of the subjects. And so we wanted, because we had 2 hours, which is something we've never had before, we wanted people's interviews to, like there's a couple of sections, and even in David Benoit's story, where he's talking about where he found out about the news for the first time, we really wanted people's interviews just to play out and to linger and to, for you to feel like you're kind of, really on the other side of that camera with us, hearing these stories for the first time. So I think that we did kind of approach it in the most intimate way we wanted to. Where some of the episodes, you only have 44 minutes, you gotta bang through a lot of information in a quick amount of time.
Now, some fans have also been curious. David Benoit did have a younger sister, Chris Benoit's daughter, from his first marriage, Megan.
Right.
Did she want to remain anonymous for this story? I don't know much about her situation, but I was curious about that. And also, Chris Benoit's first wife. Do you know much about what's happened with them?
Yeah, it's as far as I know, it was the family's wishes for them to not be, part of this, and that was totally fine by us. Like, we didn't question any further than that. We just basically extended the invitation to them through David, and David was the one that really wanted to participate, and so it was just kind of left at that.
I figured that was the case, but some people were curious about that, so I just wanted it on the record. I think you said something very profound that really hit me about this show in your interview with TV Insider. You said, you guys are wrestling fans, and you're not trying to do a hit piece on professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, that is why I feel like this show works so well, because even when you look at wrestling and some of these sort of very kind of unsettling, disturbing stories, wrestling fans can still be very, I guess, protective, but still, I guess, acknowledging while the industry has had its issues, still having an appreciation for it in the people, in the performers they're in. And I feel like wrestling fans can feel that, and I feel like they can definitely feel that with this show.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been our hope. We definitely have always been huge fans. Jason and I have grown up as huge fans of wrestling. We're still obsessed with wrestling to this day. All the action figures we buy on a weekly basis, we're still very active into being wrestling fans, every day. And for us, that's what got us into this. I mean, really, and that's what kind of guides us, was just our passion for wrestling, and making the show. And, that being said, we're just as wrestling fans are, especially hardcore wrestling fans, we're just as fascinated with the behind-the-scenes aspect as most are, and that's what also drove us to wanting to make the show, just being so fascinated with the behind-the-scenes aspect of it. Because, there is, drama that happens in the ring that's, on the page, but then there's also this other dramatic, emotional world that happens outside of the ring. And for us, it was, wanting to really explore that human side. And the more interviews we did in season one, especially with family members, we always find that hearing from family members that haven't really gotten their voices heard, or haven't really put their voices out there, that seems to always be some of the more fascinating material. And so for us, it was just this constant journey and exploring the human side of all this world that we love, because it is so fascinating, and wrestlers, they just risk so much for this form of entertainment. Just stepping into the ring, and I'll admit, I've taken a few body slams over the course of making the show, and every time I can't believe that this is what a lot of these guys put themselves through, and so for us, it was just trying to balance and show just really what the risk is and the human side of all of this, because there is so much to this world that's so unique to wrestling. It's really unlike any other form of entertainment or sport or otherwise.
Even right now, every sport in the world has basically shut down, but we still have WWE and AEW on every week when arguably it's not the safest time to be doing that type of entertainment, but they're still going out there and performing for the fans.
Exactly.
I mean,
so much. Yeah. Again, risking so much.
Season 1 was so good, and it looks like you guys are are leaving it all. You guys are leaving it all in the ring, so to speak, for season 2. But we interviewed about a year ago, and you guys told me that Dino Bravo was the one you guys had started work on, but it didn't quite come together for season 1. We are getting the Dino Bravo, excuse me, the Dino Bravo episode for season 2, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
So was there a story for season 2 that maybe didn't come together for season that we could maybe see for season 3? Gotta ask.
Oh man, it's so hard to start thinking about season 3. Just in the fact that we're still finishing season 2.
Oh wow.
But no, I can't think of like one particular story that like didn't come together. There definitely were fallback stories that we had in place. If just you just never know if you're going to get access to a story in order to tell it in the best possible way. But we were fortunate enough that with the episodes we really wanted to tell and the ones we wanted to explore, at the end of the day, we were able to get pretty much everybody on board for what became season 2. And with season 1, it was a different experience because we were supposed to make more episodes for season 1, but then the order by the network was shortened, and so we had to kind of put a couple episodes on the shelf, which thankfully we've now been able to finish. So nothing that's really we started work on that we weren't able to finish this time around. We're just still trying to finish the ones that we are airing.
So I'm in the middle of the New Jack episode now. I mean, this lineup for season 2 looks unbelievable, but I guess another important story we're getting this season is Owen Hart. And when I heard that Martha Hart, Owen's widow, was filming material for this show, I was shocked. Like I almost couldn't believe it, and I'm very grateful that she has come forward for this series. And I heard from Talk is Jericho that you guys had to think very carefully about what you were, when you were contacting her and corresponding with her, basically, writing out your statements like an essay. So I guess, can you talk a little bit about that process, and did it shock you at all when she agreed to come forward and work on the show?
Well, I mean, it was, it was just a very basic email that I had sent her about just that we really wanted to tell the story and have it be part of the show. And when she sent back she sent back a number of questions for me to answer, and it wasn't I was just really impressed by that. No one's ever really put us to that before, and I just thought that was incredibly thoughtful, and it was also incredibly helpful, I think, for us to really be okay. Because we know the Owen Hart story is a big, big, big story in the world of wrestling, but it kind of forced us to really hone in exactly how we wanted to tell the story and the way we wanted to approach it, with all the sensitivities within that story. So for us, it was an amazing exercise. It was really, really, really cool. And so I did that, and then once she responded to that, we actually got together. And we spent time together in Calgary, which was just amazing. She's just such an amazing person, super, just really, really great person. And so was Oj, her son too, is incredible as well. And we just hit it off. And then it just really felt like there was good trust between all of us in terms of telling the story and kind of working together in that way. Mm-hmm. And that was great. And so it was just a really good experience. It's one of the episodes that we're still finishing right now, amidst everything in the world. But it's one that I'm extremely proud of. I think how it's been progressing and coming along, I think it's definitely going to be an episode that viewers are definitely not going to want to miss.
Well, Evan, I think that's about all our time we have for this interview, but I really appreciate your time. I tell you, man, this show is blowing up. We got a weekly after show now. We have Dino Bravo, New Jack, Brawl for All, Dr. D and David Schultz, Jimmy Snuka, LOD, the Road Warriors, and of course Owen Hart. I cannot wait to see the rest of this season. I am so grateful we have this show running right now with everything going on in the world. This has been I mean, if that premiere is any indication, I feel like we're in for quite a season 2, and I think you guys really tapped into something, the wrestling zeitgeist, and I'm very glad you guys are on board for this incredible series, and I sincerely hope you guys get the award recognition you deserve for
Thank you.
that Chris Benoit episode, and I hope people are listening to me when I say that because I'm not messing around. That was an incredible superlative piece of work.
Wow, thank you so much. Wow, it means so much. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, Evan, and thank you for joining us. And this is Jeffrey Harris, and you've been listening to the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast.